Welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's just finished. Fulham 0, West Ham United 1 at Craven Cottage. Gonzo, how you feeling?
Good, good. Yeah, good. I'm really pleased. That was. I'm not sure I've watched. I must have watched games like that. They're not. I can't recall them at the moment. My goodness, just. I mean, just relieved. That was one of the hardest games of football I think I've had to watch. That was at times. I know we had a little flurry towards the end. But my goodness, did you see the bit where they flashed the stat up at one point where we had 6% possession over the last 5 minutes? They flashed out Fulham 94%. We had 6%. Wasn't like that all game because sometimes we had a whopping 19% at some points, which was nice. But it was hard. It was hard to watch. Somebody asked in the build up, didn't they? Do you think West Ham were just going to defend? No, we don't. He's going for it today. We thought he's going for it. Well, he wasn't. Wow. I mean, it worked. Ultimately it worked, and that's why I feel good because I'm relieved and we got the 3 points. But that was a hard watching us defend like that for that amount of time.
That win sees West Ham jump up to 13th in the Premier League table, now 3 points ahead of 18th. Other results have arguably gone West Ham's way today as well. Aston Villa winning 2-0 against Nottingham Forest, and while Wolves won, Leicester got beat. Granted, it was against Bournemouth. So the league's looking a little bit better for West Ham. I am so torn on this one, Gonzo, like really contradicted. On one hand, I'm happy, I'm relieved. It was all about getting the win, and we got the win. On the other hand, wow, that was terrible. That was really, really bad. Like you said, there was a 10-minute spell at the end there where we looked okay, but that was down to the fact that Fulham were throwing the kitchen sink at us and it opened up those avenues. But that first half in particular was dreadful, really, really bad. It was horrible to watch. It was tough to watch. It wasn't enjoyable. We didn't play well whatsoever. But we got 3 points, so I'm pleased. But at the same time, I've never been so frustrated to win a game of football. This is like a new feeling to me almost, and I do not like it whatsoever. It's a bit like what we did against Southampton. We won, but there's not many positives you can take out the game. The biggest one is obviously you got the 3 points, but apart from that, there's not that much else you can take out of there that makes you think, oh yeah, that's it. Has my confidence in us staying up increased? Well, slightly, because we've won and other teams have got beat, but it's not because of the performance. I've not come away from that performance thinking we play like that the rest of the season, we'll be okay. Quite the opposite. I think we play like that the rest of the season, we're possibly going to get relegated. Wow, that was a hard watch at times, but it was all about 3 points and we got it. I mean, up until 1-0, what were you thinking?
Well, it was terrible. The system wasn't working. Well, this is the thing. From a spectacle point of view, I'm looking at it thinking the system isn't working. You may well find that system worked perfectly well for David Moyes. That if that was the plan, it worked. Because aside from that, whenever it was, in the 80th minute when Fabianski did the reaction one to knock it away from the bloke's feet, he was protected.
Yeah, by and large, defensively, it was a really good performance.
He was protected, but yeah. So I think it may have worked. So it was hard, but watching it, I was thinking we can't pass. We physically couldn't attack, even if we wanted to. We couldn't string any passes together. And I think I was getting annoyed with certain players. Would be Fornals and Souček would be amongst them. So actually, it's probably not their job. He is just there to be in front of Cresswell. I'm talking about Fornals here. Souček is probably there just to head the ball and tackle and do the stuff and sort of create a barrier in front of the two centre backs. But it wasn't he. What was I thinking? This is all with hindsight. We've won that 1-0. What was I thinking at the time? We're going to lose. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I was thinking the same as well. I was thinking this is tough. I mean, it was a bit of a 4-4-2, a 4-4-1-1 if you want to call it that, because the strikers at times, mainly Antonio was trying to drop in, but we were struggling with that. They couldn't play it very well. Fulham were dominating possession. Palhinha and Reid had all the time in the world because the striker wasn't getting back in to occupy that territory. Vice nor Souček could get forward because they had Pereira to worry about as well.
Yeah.
So if they stepped up, it would have left a gap. And there was a bit of a warning when Pereira had that shot on the edge of the box that Zuma blocked really well and put out for a corner. So the midfield was sort of stifled. They couldn't really press Fulham's defensive pair, but our strikers weren't dropping back in to press their defensive. So that pairing of Reed and Polina had all the time, space, and everything. They had as much time as they wanted on the ball, and we were really struggling. And there was a couple of times we broke down the right-hand side mainly because lack of pace on the left. We broke down the right, and you could see us committing bodies forward for a change. We were getting numbers in the box, 3 of them. Ings, Antonio, and Souček was getting in there. Bowen or whatever was getting in. I thought, okay, there's something here. It's not quite working, but there's something there. But it was painful. We did make it 1-0 for Gonzo, but I mean, I say put it down to luck. Do you know something? Not really, because I think it's a wonderful ball from Bicep to Soufal. It should have been a handball, but the linesman didn't flag. The referee's not going to overrule the linesman when he's that close to it. So he continues. Good ball into Bowen. Good play. In fact, fantastic play by Jai Bowen. Takes on his man. It's a brilliant ball in, because if Reed isn't there, it's going straight to Danny Ings, who's sitting 8 yards out waiting to tap into the empty net. It's fantastic play by Jared Bowen, and you make your own luck. In situations like that, I strongly believe in football, you make your own luck, and it was just a good bit of attacking play from us, and 1-0 West Ham, a bit fortunate, but we'll bloody take it.
Oh, we did take it. We did, yeah. You had to laugh, really. We hadn't scored an open play for 400 minutes, and I guess we still haven't. But it was really good play from Bowen, and I was pleased. I mean, he at least gave us some form of attack. He tried. He worked his socks off when he wasn't being asked to stand directly in front of Soufal. He did, and you know what? He's got a great attitude as well to sort of keep going. Yeah, I mean, it was, but that wasn't relief. The relief only came at the end. I mean, I felt no better at 1-0 up because we just continued to do what we had been doing, which was just saying, "Come on, that's what we're doing. Come on in." And it was so hard to watch that. It's got to be hard for the players. Got to be hard for the coaching team as well, actually. And actually for the man who's decided the tactics, David Moyes. That's a hell of a way to make your living. It must be easier being a front foot manager. At least you feel like probably got some control on the game. Everything's got to go right. You have such faith in those 2 centre backs, who are magnificent, by the way. That everything has got to be just so. And then of course we were all worried when Ings got a knock, of course. But I was amazed because I thought that was a little out for him. His system hadn't really worked. Well, okay, right. You've got to get out of jail free there. You can withdraw Ings because it's not working, and actually you can just bung the extra midfielder in and just sort it out. You're 1-0 up. You can do your stuff now. But he didn't. He sort of persevered, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't really, but like you said, because Ings got injured, I thought, well, there's your opportunity to do the sub. And to be honest, I think he should have done that sub, because almost between 1-0 and half time, that 20 minutes, we had a couple of opportunities on the break. So it was always, the game was set up for us to counter attack, but on the couple of occasions we did break, Ings is too slow. He couldn't keep up. Bowen was almost overtaking him, running down the right wing with the ball, where Ings was struggling. We had no out whatsoever. Antonio and Ings as a partnership was dreadful today. There was no chemistry whatsoever between them two. At one point, the ball went back to Leno. They both started pressing, got halfway, and they both stopped. So then it was a simple pass out to the Fulham defender, and both our strikers are out the game now because they're behind the Fulham defence, but not closing down the goalkeeper. And I thought, bloody hell, them as a partnership was woeful. There was very little to come away from that thinking there's something there to make that work. You see those partnerships over the pitch. I think Creswell and Fornals have got a really good understanding of each other. I think Soufal and Bowen have got a really good understanding of each other. Emerson and Benrahma was getting better week by week, but Antonio and Danny Ings, crikey, it was almost like watching two strangers. But as soon as he got that knock, and he was clearly struggling, like you said, it was an easy sub, but he left him on. And I was quite relieved in the end when he subbed him off in the second half. But at half-time, went in 1-0. I mean, I was sort of happy but worried at the same time. We were 1-0 up, and I thought the substitutions have to be made. I saw Fulham make a couple. I thought, oh, no, I almost felt like I knew what was going to happen. But I mean, in the second half, we had some opportunities. We should have finished the game off. Like you said, Fabianski made a terrific dive to stop Pereira one-on-one, but there was opportunities there. Antonio, Bowen, then Cornet at the very end as well.
Yeah. I went full Del Boy. I shouted, "You dipstick," at the TV. Didn't even swear at him, which I thought was very good of me. Or did I? No, I didn't actually. Sorry, it's a lie. I said knobhead, sort of a little bit sweary, I guess. He needs to finish it. I mean, Benrahma was on, right? I understand why he wouldn't. I understand why he wouldn't. This is his opportunity for salvation, isn't it? He can right the wrongs. He can shove that Where's Cornet poster up my backside if he scores that, can't he? But so I understand why he's why he doesn't square it. I wish he had squared it. Such a shame, because I thought he chased it down well. And the other thing was, it was a little bit of an insight into what we probably could have had earlier on in the game, which is just a little bit more pace and a little bit more urgency and a little bit more direct running, because as we suspected, we were woefully slow at the start of that game. But yeah, look, I was at that point, I was confident we'd see it out and win. So that's why he got called a knobhead and not something a more industrial maybe. So what can I say? But at the end, we had a bit of momentum. But for all the reasons, not only were they throwing the kitchen sink, I think they'd tried everything. I think they'd hit a brick wall. I would expect David Moyes to be, I don't know if he'd be smug, but in his press conference, that will be interesting, because I'm having at the moment to separate what I like with actually what worked, and I don't like what I saw. But if that was David Moyes' tactics, and I suspect they were, I think that last, if you would call it the last 10 minutes, including the injury time bit, I think that was not only them going forward. It's like, well, we've tried everything. We've basically hit a brick wall. By that point, they'd had 17 shots or whatever. Only 3 had been on target or something like that. And I think by that point, Fulham had given up. So I wasn't, whilst I was, I laughed at Cornet, really. Because I wasn't that concerned. Thought we'd won the game at that point.
Yeah, Ings had a really good chance as well. It was a good save. Which is one of them you think, that was a finish of a striker is confident. I don't know why he feels that confident, but he tried to chip him and stuff, and it's just one of those that you wait all season. You wait a handful of games for a chance. You get one, he just doesn't quite put it in the back of the net. Well, to say no quite about it, he was nowhere near close to putting it in the back of the net. It was a good save. It was a poor finish from Danny Ings as well. We had opportunities to make it 2-0. Sort of greedy play, if you like. Bowen's opportunity, he had loads of time. He could have taken a touch. He's hit it first time. It was a bit of a team effort. But defensively, it was a really good performance. Like you said, that one occasion Fabianski was called upon, that was it. Other than that, it was a really comfortable afternoon from him. And you're completely correct. You have to separate what you like and what you want to see compared to what worked today. And Moyes will sit there, which is completely justified, which is we needed the 3 points. We've turned up. We've won. We've now got 3 points away from the relegation zone. We've got the clean sheet in the bag. Keeper was not really busy, and all the changes he made, majority of the changes he made, worked. The players that came in played well. I think in particular, when we do the man of match, one of the players he brought in was my man of match day. So his changes was justified. Like I said, the issue I had was the strike partnership. I just didn't really feel there was much chemistry. It is difficult though when you're going to play 4-4-2. I think it increases the necessity for your wingers to be quick in order to get up the pitch and support that front two. And I thought that Fornals' lack of pace really hindered that.
I'm surprised you're giving him man of the match.
I'm definitely not giving Fornals man of the match. Do you know something? I thought he was okay. I don't think he was great. I don't think he was bad. I thought he played okay, but that was a difficult. That pair up front did not work. It was sort of like the worst 2 up I've seen since Carl Vorderman's pictures were doing the rounds.
You said pair up front. It's not going to work. And you mentioned Carol Vorderman. I wonder where you were going with that.
Yeah, her
pair up front ain't going to work. As Dwight York said,
she's got dodgy pair up front at the minute as well from those photos. But we won, Gonzo. That's the most important thing, is that, like you said, we can feel relieved, we can feel happy, but doesn't necessarily increase your optimism. You didn't necessarily enjoy the 90 minutes, but the ends justify the means.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said quite a few times this week, I don't want David Moyes to spoil my weekend. Well, you know what? He hasn't. But I tell you what did happen at half time. I went and got myself a drink. A moment I got distracted and I was talking, and momentarily I forgot that West Ham were on. And the first half was so dire that I then turned around. I started thinking what I was going to have for me dinner, right? Honestly, and I turned around and looked at the football. I remembered I had another 45 minutes of that. And honestly, I looked at Tony and went, oh, no. Oh no, because I just thought it's just going to be more defending, and it was, because I remember checking after 55 minutes. I went and checked the stats, like the possession stats as well. So it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And I did. I checked and I looked, and at the 55 minutes it was at 79. They had 70, so we managed to claw it back to 21. But as I say, I'm pleased because they haven't ruined the weekend. The world's our lobster now, and we can go and enjoy the rest of the weekends, and that's a good thing. I would hope we can't. I say I hope, and feel free to laugh. I'd hope we can't play that terribly again. But as I say, that's my perspective on it. I'm looking at it because we actually defended brilliantly. Someone could turn around and say, actually, we were brilliant. If they were just looking at defending, maybe they want all that passy nonsense and all that shooting and all that stuff. If they just want defending, and then we played brilliantly.
Yeah, that's what he's done. He's gone back to 2020 when we were a counter-attacking team. We did defend and try and hit on the break, and he's used the players that have done it for us. And at the end of the day, he's got the 3 points, so it's worked. Like I said, he'll feel justified. We're doing individual performers. Before we do, thank you, Keith, for the £2 super chat. Says Fulham versus Zuma today, and Roy for the £10 super chat. Says really quick championship team against a Premier League team. Downs has to start over Souček. 3 passes in the first half is awful. It worked, though. Buzzing for the win. 3 wins in the last 5. Come on, you Irons. What are you looking confused at?
Somebody said I don't want to watch Monday's game. What's Monday's game?
I don't know. I don't know.
We're not playing Monday, are we? We're not playing Monday.
No, I don't know if there's a Premier League one. Wrexham are playing Notts County.
We're playing Arsenal. We're playing Arsenal next.
Yeah, we're playing Arsenal next weekend. Individual performances, take your pick.
Do you know what? I'm gonna leave the crap alone. Actually, I can't be bothered. I'm sick of moaning, quite frankly. So well done, Soufal. Had to defend so much. Tried to get forward when he could, but it was 2 or 3 occasions, which is nice to see. It was a lot of defending for him to do. I was pleased. I would rather him there than Kehrer, so I was pleased about that. You're right, there is a partnership with Bowen, so well done, Bowen, as well. He defended all game, worked so hard. I don't normally want to see these stats. I normally want to see passing stats and stuff like that. I'd be interested to see how much ground Bowen covered. That would be interesting. He's run a lot today, and a lot of it. I mean, he made a good. Well, he forced the issue for the goal, the own goal. Put it, not quite on a plate for Ings, but created a good chance for Ings as well, and was always available for the counter-attack, which if that Dave Moyes wants to play as a counter-attack, Bowen, if Cornet's not on the pitch, then Bowen is the closest thing we've got to a fast player, to do that from wide areas. So that was pleasing. Zuma was, sorry, did you ask for man of the match?
Not yet.
Okay. And Zuma, well done, Zuma, as well.
I think most players had a decent showing. It's more the defensive players, unfortunately. I think, Creswell had a good game. I think Zuma was fantastic. I thought Rice had a good game defensively. Fabianski wasn't called upon very often, but when he was faultless. So there's a lot of positive performances today individually out there, but they are mainly defensive. But I agree with you in regards to Jared Bowen, the one player that did carry a bit of a threat going forward, and a hard gig for him. Robinson is not an easy player to play up against, but I thought he was fine. I thought he gave him trouble and got back and helped out Soufal as much as he could. I thought it was a really good performance from him. Thank you, Sumo, for the £2 super chat. Says for the Easter egg, and GP says I won't be selling my jam at Millwall. No, I shall not be selling any jam. Flipping Gonzo and his jam. Gonzo, can I get your final thoughts? And now your man of match, please.
Yeah. Tough watch. Not 9. I won't be going watching that a second time. Just to make sure I got my player ratings right. Ahead of our Patreon player ratings video. Come and join us on Patreon if you want a bit more. But I'm pleased. I'm honestly drawing a line under it now. I'm gonna I might record tomorrow's video now or do something like that, and then that's it, mate. I'm done. I'm leaving football well alone, and I'm really pleased, and I feel a little bit liberated by the result, actually, because it's been a massive worry. It's not all over, clearly it's not, but you know what, I'll take 2 or 3 days not worrying about West Ham. I'll enjoy that. Man of the match, for me was Angelo Ogbonna. I thought he was wonderful. I was really pleased to see him back positionally. So good. So good. He stands. It's a basic thing. He stands in the right position. I think he brought some leadership qualities. We've wondered a little bit about communication. Really, regardless of what goalkeeper was in there, that communication thing wasn't there today. That was an organised backline, and I can't think.
Apart from him and Craswell.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Let's have a little.
Apart from that, it was faultless.
Yeah. But I thought it was So yeah, and I didn't mention Declan Rice. I thought Declan Rice was good today as well. I know you mentioned that, but yeah, it would be a Bonner for me.
It was all about getting 3 points. The job today was about getting 3 points. For David Moyes, it was about getting the win and saving his job for another couple of weeks. And I think he does buy another couple of weeks, by the way, because Arsenal next up. Losing that one is not going to get him sacked. I think he's going to be here for the one after that, which is Bournemouth, another important game. But this is what he does. This is what I've always felt he would do between now and the end of the season, which is win the games he has to win. He just does enough to keep himself in a job. But as a result of that, it might just be enough to keep West Ham in the Premier League. And it's not going to be fun to watch. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be close. It's not guaranteed. The end result, which is remaining in the Premier League, is not a guarantee, because all it takes is him to lose one of his must-win games and we're bang in trouble. But this is what he's going to try and do. He's just going to try and grind us to minimum 17th in the Premier League. Good weekend for us. Hopefully, Man City thump Southampton later on. I've got to the point, I'll say this here. I've got to the point I'm now rooting for whoever's playing Forest, Southampton, and Leicester City. That's the three now. I knew I'd get to a point where I'd focus in on 3 teams and go, that's the 3 that are going down. Leeds, I think, has got enough about them. Everton, those teams can just linger in there as well. But Forest, Southampton, and Leicester, that's the teams now I'm looking at, especially with Bournemouth winning at Leicester, and they're on the brink of appointing Jesse Marsh. I think that's a good appointment for West Ham. So I'm now rooting for whoever's playing them. Good weekend for West Ham, in my opinion, this one. And hopefully it continues with Southampton and Leeds. But my man of the match, Vladimir Šufal, thought he was absolutely fantastic. He had about 3 different opponents today. He did. He had 3 different people. He started off with Willian, and then he had Solomon, and then towards the end he had someone else over there because Solomon went over to the right. Whoever it was, he coped with all 3. He was better than his opponent each time he won that battle. Tough tackles flying in from him. Loved that. I love seeing it. At one point, he went in for 3 tackles. Bang, bang, bang. He conceded the foul for stamping on Kearney's toe. I don't care. I just love seeing that attitude, that grit. He had it in abundance today. Got forward. Oh, he gave 100% from start to finish. I thought it was a really inspirational performance from Šufal. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it, actually. And thank you very much to Ado, who says, weekend not ruined. Plus 3 points. Happy Easter,
lads. Thank you. Quite right. Same to you. Thank you, man.
Anyway, myself and Gonzo leave it there. As Gonzo said, we'll be doing the player ratings tomorrow or Monday, which will go through every individual performer in a little bit more detail, including David Moyes. And if you fancy a little bit of that, you can go to patreon.com/HammersChat. Links in the description if you fancy supporting the channel. But otherwise, regardless, please do drop a like on the video by clicking the thumbs up. Helps us out a lot. Subscribe if you're new to Hammers Chat. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.